Welcome to the lab. This is where everything is happening in Generation Lab, especially the magic of the longevity cocktail that we're creating.
Each box is extremely powerful and opens huge horizons for what we can understand.
When in doubt, focus on the science. What if we could do a nerve transplant between a young animal and an old animal? Would the young animal become old or would the old animal become young? And they stitched them together. The skin from one animal then grows together with the skin of the other animal. And what happens is
Méline is meeting Alina Rui Su, a Harvard-trained scientist and Forbes 30 Under 30 entrepreneur. She's the co-founder and CEO of Generation Lab, working alongside fellow co-founder Dr. Irina Conboy. Together, they lead a team that's reimagining how we age and how we might do it better.
So this is when company started. We were spinning out from her lab into Generation Lab in 2023 May. So we'll be very near our second year anniversary very soon. And we were the youngest company that featured on Fortune Health back in last year. And also on Fortune, Forbes, there's LA Times, many features about us. This is us doing the first test on ourselves. We always try things on ourselves first, including testing and also GL1 product. This is a super cool technology that you can collect the blood automatically, pain-free within 3 to 5 minutes. And we work with a lot of clinicians, almost 100 different clinics currently in US. So this is Dr. Matt Cook, who is a very famous doctor in San Francisco in longevity space. This April, we will be going to the House of Representatives again to talking about what is the new legislation in longevity and how should we set that regulation up as well. It's impressive to see, looking back, have been coming such a long way of 20 years of science and turning into
a real product.
Yeah, a real product, and people can use it.
At UC Berkeley's Department of Bioengineering, scientists are uncovering how aging reshapes the world of stem cells and how we might reverse it.
Méline, welcome to the lab.
Thank you.
This is where everything is happening in Generation Lab, especially the magic of GL1, the longevity cocktail that we're creating. There's many cool technologies that we have here as well.
This is not only Generation Lab facility. This is what is called core facility. So various startup companies can purchase access to this facility. Does not belong just to Generation Lab, but it gives us unprecedented, really multi-million-dollar infrastructure to do research.
This is the tissue culture hood, where we culture all of different dynamics of these cells. And to make sure the cells is not being polluted, every time when we're using this, we will spray it out. And then this is a biohazard control. It's having a film hood to basically controlling all of the airs being filtered out, and it's tightly controlled a circumstance.
This is automated microscope.
This is a microscope?
Yes.
How?
The sample will go there in a plate, and then it will have different areas that it will image for many hours, and then you can just come and see what happens. This is a very cool machine with a laser inside. It's called flow cytometer. Each box is very expensive and it's extremely powerful and does many things. This particular one can analyze cells at single cell resolution, but many of them in the population, and tell if they become younger, older. That single purpose opens huge horizons for what we can understand.
How much will each unit cost?
A big chunk of $1 million for each box. And then we have some instruments which are several $1 million. Those are like electron microscopes, and this is accessible to Generation Lab, but it doesn't belong to us.
Yes.
It belongs to various people. It's like we are leasing access to it.
After the tour, Méline sits down with Dr. Irina Conboy and her husband, Dr. Michael Conboy. Together, they conducted groundbreaking research on parabiosis, which revealed its potential to not only slow down the effects of aging, but possibly reverse them.
This is Dr. Michael Conboy. He is faculty at the University of California, Berkeley, And we run Conboy laboratory together for the past 20 years or so.
Very fascinating about how well you guys are working together as doing research and being scientists together. Do you think this love life together to have this connection helped with your, discovery in science or?
Totally.
Yeah, we
Yes.
talk about science all the time, right? We go home and, hey, how was your day? Well, same as my day, right?
No, yeah, exactly.
right, yeah.
It's like, it's so amazing. Some people say that they cannot, their life suffers because they have the same job.
Yeah.
It's completely opposite. Because this is the most interesting thing for both of us, is like, how does universe work?
Bring us back, how does this all parabiosis study starts, and bring us back to the history, please.
So parabiosis, we had been discussing why all the tissues and organs of the body age kind of together since we were grad students. We didn't have an answer for that or even a way to test it. We had been thinking before that, well, what is it that connects all the tissues together with the body? Well, there's a nervous system that innervates everything, and there's the blood that circulates everywhere, and then of course the blood vessels that carry the blood to circulate everywhere. So what if we could do a nerve transplant between a young animal and an old animal? Would the young animal become old, or would the old animal become young? In the lab that we were in, and the biggest thing we had was mice. And they were using this technique to answer, can cells from the bone marrow go to other tissues of the body and sort of engraft into those tissues? So they had one mouse that was fluorescent green tagged, and they had another mouse that wasn't. And they stitched them together. And what happens is the skin from one animal then grows together with the skin of the other animal, and the blood vessels in the skin connect. And then after a couple of weeks, you get enough blood flow back and forth between the animals such that if you were to, let's say, inject a tracer into one partner, the other, it's at equilibrium in about an hour. We saw this technique, and then so we said, hey, why don't we do this experiment, but instead of a green mouse and a regular mouse, we'll use a young mouse and an old mouse.
Your lab is the first one who ever did sewing the young mice and. Yeah.
I think at the end of the 1800s, someone described this.
People try to suture different animals, like big animals like cows,
Oh.
and very little
Cows.
animals like flies. But what nobody did, nobody asked the question, what would happen to tissues, cells, and key determinant molecules in the old animal and the young animal? And can you detect aging and rejuvenation of stem cells? So we brought it to the modern biomedicine.
Yeah.
When you suture to animals, it's not just blood that is shared, but all organs are shared. For example, old mouse now benefits from young kidney, young liver, young heart and lung. People try to equate parabiosis with blood sharing. It is not. It is not blood sharing.
Okay.
And then old animal has to exercise because it is sutured with the young mouse that constantly runs
Yeah.
several miles every night. So there are many compounding factors. We just did one parabiosis paper, and we switched to various devices where we can exchange just blood in about half an hour, but not suture mice together. And that led to the discovery of plasma dilution as being really strongly rejuvenating procedure.
What is aging means for you? Do you think aging is reversible?
I think health extension is doable. I think reversing some of the chronic illnesses of aging is possible, but we're going to have to make many steps to get there.
Can you tell us again, like what you mean when you put a stem cell in an old environment, it wouldn't work?
The key problem with age was that the muscle stem cells didn't wake up after injury. They were there, and people would argue that there's, as many as young, or half as many as young, but at any rate, whatever's there doesn't wake up and start dividing to make more good muscle tissue. So later, when we did the parabiosis work, we would always be looking at the stem cells and markers of stem cell activation and proliferation as being the driver behind maintaining good quality, youthful-like tissue. Is you have to get the stem cells participating in
and
in the tissue formation.
withstanding the entropy discussed, right? Withstanding the deterioration of tissues.
Mike, from all the paper you have published from your work, what are the one or two paper that you published you feel, wow, like that was amazing information I have found I have to share with the world?
It has an interesting title, but it's called work on immortal DNA.
Ooh.
So when you think of the double-stranded DNA helix, right, when it replicates, it spreads apart, and then newly synthesized DNA is made on the existing single-strand templates. So imagine my two arms are a little piece of double-stranded DNA, right? One's going this way, one's going that way, right? And the A's and T's match up, and the G's and the C's match up, right? So if you want to make more DNA, what happens is that unzips, and then newly synthesized DNA is produced in the middle. Here's the newly synthesized strand, okay? So you can see that this strand and this strand are not the same. And the cell can tell these two apart. So when this, in the next division, when this separates and newly synthesized complementary strand is made, the cell can tell that, this one was older than this one, and will put all the old ones into the cell that's self-renewing, the stem cell that's self-renewing, and all the newer pieces go into the daughter cell that's
different cell
more differentiated.
Brain, or will make hair.
Okay.
So this one is a clean slate.
Oh.
Doesn't have any annotations. It was recently made, so it can acquire the fate whatever we need for a tissue. This one has all of the markings or annotations of how to be stem cell.
Right.
It will go back to a cell which will become new stem cell.
Could you give some words to the students or for the people who want to dedicate their life pursuit of science, from biochemistry?
When in doubt, focus on the science, right? You get a decision to make between A and B. Where does the science point? Go in that direction, right?
Or take care of science, and science will take care of you.
Oh, thank you so much for your time.
No,
Just such
thank you
a lovely
guys.
time
Yes.
with both of you. Thank you for watching this new episode of the Human Wear Project. For us to keep bringing amazing guests and amazing content to you, please subscribe. Your support and your like means a lot to us. Thank you.